Nigeria is lying to itself, and the Senate and the House of Reps, everybody will be lying to themselves if they believe that they can somehow paint a defective structure to cure the structural defect. They are lying to themselves. It's a waste of time. The constitution they are trying to panel beat lasted all of 4 years and 3 months. That's the 1979 constitution. That's what they are panel beating and turned into the 1999 constitution. It lasted 4 years, 3 months. This one has survived this long based on the illusion of hope. That Nigeria is falling around everybody's ears. So yes, Nigeria has two choices. All-out implosion or war that is already happening all around us. Just because we live in the cocoon of Lagos, we forget. It is either that or we consciously awaken as the people and demand the change that is required to save our country, or Nigeria will die. That one you can go and write down. I'm not a prophet of doom, but you cannot sustain an injustice called Nigeria in its current form for much longer. It will not survive.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dele Farotimi. The part where Nigeria will die, we forbid it, and we hope that will not happen.
You can pray and forbid you. If you don't act, you can pray, you can forbid. Nigerians love praying, binding, and casting. We are lying to ourselves. Walk and pray. When we are done praying for God forbid and all of that, if we do not get off our collective list, we'll be in trouble.
Our Nigerian problem is constitution. We need a constitution written by Nigerians for Nigerians without regard for religion. A Celestian pastor, you know that one that was convicted of stealing or fraud, or I don't know, that was sent to prison, who is now big in Nigeria, was saying that he will vote for Tinubu, not because he's performing well, but because he's a Yoruba man. Another one from Igbo land saying that he is convincing his people to vote for Obi, not because Obi has done greatly as a governor, but because he's an Igbo man. We are now taking tribalism into religion. Day by day, an average of one Nigerian is killed or maimed in South Africa. An average of Nigerian is attacked in Ghana. Day by day, we are being treated like animals all around the world. They are not seeing tribes. The longer we continue to see tribe, that we are divided by tribe, the more we're getting deeper into this problem. Our Nigerian problem is constitution. We need a constitution written by Nigerians for Nigerians without regard for religion. We are one.
I want to look into what late Chinachebe actually said about democracy. In quotes, the colonial masters did not introduce democracy in Africa. The European masters came to Africa with their own form of authoritarian regime. They ended up governing Africa with an iron fist. In quotes, did not introduce democracy in Africa. Now, what they are clamoring about as independence in Africa and the practice of democracy in Africa does not have one interpretation, because what they brought in was authoritarian. The white people were never accountable to the people that owns the land, to the citizens. They were authoritarian. They ruled with iron fists. Now, Chinua Achebe tried to dissect everything about the white man and what they came to do in the shores of Africa. Let's take a look at Nigeria, for instance. Now, Nigeria was balkanized into three regions: the eastern region, the western region, and the northern region. Now, for the eastern region and the western region, they ruled that part directly and went to the north and ruled the north indirectly. Now, ended up unifying the country in 1914 and called it Nigeria, and gave Nigeria independence in 1960. And ever since then till date, Nigeria has not found her feet. Now, today, we practice federal system of government. But take a look at the Constitution, the 1999 Constitution. The 1999 Constitution is a unitary system. The military system, unitary system, written by the military government. Now, we've had democracy from 1999 till 2006. And we are preparing for another election in 2027. And this is 2026. That document, 1999 Constitution, has not been rectified. Now, President Jonathan did, constituted a confab. That confab was for Nigerians to charter a new course, to discuss her affairs on how she wants to run and what her governance or her government should be called. But that particular document was trashed by Muhammadu Buhari. And today, the Constitution reads, we the people never agreed to that Constitution. That means the democracy being practiced in Europe and democracy being practiced in Africa, more especially Nigeria, is not the same thing. Yes. Mind you, before the advent of the white people, we are democratically in nature. I'm talking about the eastern part, the Igbo man. The Igbo man had democracy. Yes. They will tell you, Igbos don't have a king. No, we have a king, but we have a delegated authority. The king cannot override the authority. The king cannot just come override the chiefs. He has to agree with the Okparas. The Okparas, anything they decide, binds. He's going to make a pronunciation. That's what it means. There was democracy on ground in Igbo land before the white men came. Yes. So just hear Chinua Achebe, what he has to say about democracy in his interview long time ago. Thank you and God bless you.
When people say, for instance, that we failed to practice democracy in Africa, for instance, they assume that we were taught democracy during colonial rule and that we somehow betrayed our education. That is not the case. That is not true at all. The colonial regime itself was not a democratic system. It was the most extreme form of totalitarianism. The colonial governor was not responsible to anybody in the territory. He might be responsible to a minister in Paris or in London, but he was certainly not responsible to the people on the ground. And so there was no model of democracy. We were not practicing Westminster model in Nigeria under colonial rule. We were practicing colonial dictatorship. And so the colonial people really had no experience, even of this so-called democracy that they were supposed to have inherited. They did not inherit anything of the sort. So it was, again, more than simply a question of people not living up to expectation. They really were not prepared. They were not trained for this.
Well, so candid an admission, once again, can play into the hands of the enemies of black Africa, because so many Westerners argue that, well, that's right, Mr. Achebe is right, that yes, Nigeria was not ready for democracy.
Yes.
And because it can't handle democracy, we'd better stick with South Africa because they know how to keep order, to keep stability, to prevent communists from rising to power, whereas the governments of Africa and other black countries have not proven themselves up to the
Yes,
to the
well, that is, of course, totally spurious. The question of being ready, I would like to take that home, because you cannot, what I'm saying really is that you cannot become ready under colonial rule, because there was no attempt There was no way. There was no. It was not part of the program to inculcate democracy. There's no way you can inculcate democracy through dictatorship. You see, so the colonial system in itself was the very antithesis of democracy. So no matter how long you stayed under it, you would not learn democracy. There was democracy in many parts of Africa before colonial rule came, you see. So to say, oh, let's keep ruling them until they learn democracy, it's really fraudulent.
The Constitution of the Republic of Cameroon has now officially been amended. The bill to amend the Constitution of the Republic of Cameroon that was sent to Parliament for their observations has now been officially promulgated by the President of the Republic as required by law, despite observations made by several political leaders of other parties as well as political interest groups and even the Cameroon Bar Association. So, pursuant to this new amendment, the President of the Republic may be assisted by a vice president. They may be there when critically analyzed simply means that the position of vice president is optional. That is, if the President of the Republic deems it necessary to be assisted by a vice president, then he shall go ahead to appoint one. So the office of vice president simply relies on the President of the Republic, who may choose to appoint a vice president as well as not to appoint a vice president. And one other innovation in this particular amendment is the fact that in case of incapacity or death of the President of the Republic, just in case there is a vice president, the vice president shall be the constitutional successor of the President of the Republic and shall be eligible to complete the term of office left in the President of the Republic's term prior to new elections being organized for a new president to be elected. And worthy of note is the fact that the vice president, if he or she completes the term of office of the president, just in case of incapacity or death of the president, the vice president shall not be eligible to run for elections. So, summarily, the position of vice president is optional, and just in case a vice president is appointed, his appointment depends on the President of the Republic, who may equally revoke same at any time he deems fit and or necessary. And equally, the Vice President of the Republic is the new constitutional successor of the President of the Republic. In case of incapacity or death of the Vice President of the Republic, then the President of the Senate is going to be the interim president prior to elections being organized.
Hi, welcome back. There should not be any talk or any argument about amending of this constitution, because that is where the problem started from. If you look at most of the thing that Ahmed Bola Tinubu has been doing today is as a result of that constitution that is not good. If the constitution is okay, even the president and every other person will be doing good, but they are not doing good just because the constitution is a failed constitution, and a failed constitution can never work if we want a good thing. And even this crisis that is in many political parties today to change, we should demand for the amendments of our new constitution. If not, me, you and every other person would keep suffering. We need a constitution that supports Nigerians, not the constitutions that favors the leaders of Nigerians. So for all of that to happen, every one of us need to start demanding for the constitution. I think most of you listening to the second speaker here, who spoke about how the constitution has made different people to be using tribalism to do their votes or support any candidate they want. There is how the constitution would look like that would even be sweetened and made some persons not to, be supporting their people based on their tribe and every other thing. Why some persons are supporting their people based on tribes is just because of the constitution. The constitution that is there today is there because anybody who has taken over power can use it to develop his own region and even decide not to even do the other region. That is why we have sentiment and tribal issue between us. If there is nothing like that, another person from another tribe will not come against any other tribe. Let me give you one example and the reason why some persons are supporting their tribal person over one person and over one another. They are doing it because the constitution that is there is written in the way that it will favor anybody who is in power. That is why some pastors are using style to support their own person, so that when their person comes on or be given power, they would be using it to gain what they want. So for all of that to stop, I think let us just change this constitution totally and write it in a way that it will benefit every region regardless of anybody that will be in power by then. So let everybody come together to talk for this, because me talking here, I am talking for everybody. I'm not talking for only myself. If I should talk for only myself, I will just point it out that the constitution should be written in a way that it should favor myself, but not like that. So people who are there listening today, you can still talk and they will hear, because if we keep on being quiet this way, this constitution that is favoring these people over us, it will continue more and more. So for us not to be under anybody, let every one of us come to the street to start demanding for the changing of the constitution, because to me I think that one is more even important than this electoral reform we are talking about. So let everybody come to the street to demand for a new constitution, so that it will be easy for us to go for this electoral reform. Because I think if the constitution that is there is being changed, there is no way they can even be able to rig themselves in, because the constitution that is there to favor the leader, not the people. And we need the constitution that will work for the people, not the leader, because even what the leaders are enjoying is provided or are being provided by the people. So the people need to enjoy what they have been suffering for, because this is getting much and it is getting higher every day by day, because the poverty rate and many other things is getting much because of the constitution we have just been following. Thank you everyone.